everyone, so today's video is going to be a mid-year check-in, meaning it's basically the middle of the year now, and I'm basically just going to update you guys on some of the best books that I read, the worst books, the biggest disappointments, biggest surprises, stuff like that. And yeah, if I seem a bit out of it during this video, it's because it's extremely warm in my room right now. It's still really warm, just like last week, because I also said this in the video that I filmed last week. It's very warm. I'm trying to film this as fast as possible, which is kind of impossible considering, I'm very warm. I can't think straight. I'm in a lot of pain. But yeah, I'm going to try anyway. This is kind of a long video, but I'm going to try and make it as short as possible, which means I'm going to try and make it under 20 minutes. So yeah, it's probably going to take me 40 minutes to film. So yeah, wish me luck on that, I guess. And yeah, let's just get into this video as fast as possible. So let's just start with the best book that I read so far this year, and that is The Collector. This was kind of a surprise to me because I just picked this up randomly at a bookstore because there was a sale going on. If you bought 2 books, you could get half off basically. So I was I'm gonna get 2 books. And I picked one book that I knew a lot about. It's actually right here. It's Mexican Gothic. And I picked that book up because I heard a lot of good things about it, but then I couldn't find a second book that I knew anything about. So I just randomly picked this book up because I really liked the cover, and the blurb at the back of the book seemed really interesting. So I picked it up randomly and I ended up really liking it. I gave it 5 stars, which obviously because I gave this the title of the best book I've read so far this year. So yeah, I give this 5 stars. It's a very difficult subject to read about because it's about a girl who gets kidnapped, and you're basically just, for the majority of the book, you're reading from the kidnapper's perspective. And so you're seeing him justify why he did it, and how he did it, and how he planned for it, and how he views her. And yeah, it's very disturbing, but I really liked reading it. I thought it was really interesting, which you can probably tell from the amount of tabs that are in this book. But yeah, I thought it was really interesting. I'm definitely looking forward to reading more books like this, even though it's kind of weird to say that considering again the subject. But yeah, I found it really intriguing, and yeah, I'm very glad that I randomly picked it up just because I like the butterfly on the front. So yeah, this is also a classic. This was made a while ago. I don't know exactly how long ago, but I'm guessing around 1960 or something. So yeah, it's kind of a surprise to me that a classic is my best book of the year so far. But yeah, you're gonna see me mention another classic that is also one of my favorites this year. So I guess this year I'm just in a classic mood. So yeah, let's just move on to the next topic I want to talk about, which I'm pretty sure is my worst book category, which doesn't necessarily mean the book is bad, but for me, I just didn't like it. So yeah, let's just talk about that. So the worst book I read so far this year is also a classic actually, and that is The Scarlet Letter. I have been, as I said before, just now, I have been kind of in a classic mood where I read quite a few of them, and this was just the worst one. I didn't like it at all. The writing just wasn't for me in the way that I thought that the writing for another classic I'm going to talk about in a little bit was really beautiful. This writing just didn't do it for me at all. I just didn't like it at all. That doesn't mean the book is bad necessarily, but for me, I just didn't like it. Again, mainly because of the writing and not really the story necessarily. So yeah, I'm glad I read it so that it's off my TBR, but I just didn't like it at all. So yeah, it's not a bad book because I give it the worst book of the year so far title, but it's not a bad book. You can still read it obviously and think that it's great, but to me, it just wasn't that good. I didn't like the writing style, so yeah. Then next we have the best sequel I've read so far this year, and that is Heaven's Official Blessing Volume 2. Now I probably butchered that title a bit, but it's very difficult to say it and hold it up at the same time because it's very heavy. But yeah, this is the only sequel I've read so far this year, because if you've watched my channel for a while, I don't tend to read series a lot, and when I do read them, I never finish them. So yeah, I haven't read any sequels except for this one, and I did really like this one, as you can tell from the amount of tabs once again. I really liked it. I'm now on book 4 of this series, so clearly I like this series a lot, and yeah, I would highly recommend it if you're into this type of genre of book, because I feel it's a very specific genre that is not going to be for everyone. So yeah, I'm not going to talk about this book for long. One, because it's extremely heavy to hold up, and two, I need to get through this video as fast as possible, and three, I don't think anyone's interested in my opinions on this book, because not a lot of people are gonna know about it. So yeah, let me just put this down and move on. But like I said, it was very good. I really liked it, really enjoying this series so far. So yeah. Then next we have like what is my favorite like reread so far this year. And for me, those are actually like two books, but the first book is Hell Followed With Us. I actually almost forgot the title for this, and I wanted to say Heaven's Official Blessing once again, but no, it's actually the exact opposite title. It's Heaven and Hell, stuff like that. But yeah, I can't really make jokes when I'm like this warm, so yeah. Anyway, I really liked rereading this. This is like my third time reading, I think, because I finally have like a physical copy. So yeah, I reread it this year, but yeah, I really enjoyed rereading it. The other book that I wanted to like put in this like category was Queer Body Power, which I'm gonna put here, like a picture of it, even though I do have it physically. I've read this book already 3 times as well, I think, and yeah, I really liked rereading it for Pride Month. It was really fun once again, even though it is like a non-fiction. So yeah, I can move on to the next question now. I want to talk about these 2 books more, but I'm really starting to become like really warm because like the sun is literally like shining on my back. So yeah, I'm just gonna move on before I start like sweating like visibly in this video. So yeah, let's just move on. Then next we have a new release that I want to read soon, and that is Vanishing World. I can't pronounce the author's name because again, it's too difficult considering how warm I am. But this is by the same author as Convenience Store Woman, which I really enjoyed that book, and the same author as Earthlings, which I kind of liked. I don't know how much you can really like enjoy a book that has a very like vivid description of cannibalism, but yeah, I kind of liked it. I thought it was very intriguing. All of their books seem to be like very intriguing, and I do want to buy their newest book, but they tend to be like very expensive. So yeah, I am looking forward to that one, and it did recently come out, I think. So yeah, I don't really keep up with new releases a lot. So yeah, this is like the only one I could think of. So yeah, let's just move on to the next one. Then next we have the book that was the biggest disappointment so far this year, and that was My Year of Rest and Relaxation. I got this from the library, and I was expecting a lot from it because it was so hyped up, and it just wasn't like my thing. I also read another book by this author, and I also didn't really like it. I think it's just like the writing style that I'm not really like that big of a fan of. But yeah, I did give this book like 3 stars, I think, but yeah, it was a bit disappointing because it's so like hyped up that I was expecting like a lot from it. I was expecting to really love it, but it just didn't work out. So yeah. Next we have, what is the book that was the biggest surprise to you? And I already mentioned it before, but it was also The Collector, which I already talked about. So I'm not going to talk about that book again, but that book is definitely also like in this category. But what is also in this category is another classic, and that is Frankenstein. Now I wasn't expecting to like this a lot at all, but as you can see from the amount of tabs in it, I really liked it. Like the writing style was just like completely my taste, in the way that the Scarlet Letter wasn't like at all. This was just like completely like my taste in writing. Like the writing was incredibly beautiful, and I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I wasn't expecting to like this at all. I actually read this book like this month, and yeah, it was literally like so weird to read it and like love it this much, because I don't think I've ever read a classic and liked it this much, except for like The Picture of Dorian Gray maybe. And I feel like this tops The Picture of Dorian Gray. I feel like I would have to reread that book to see if I like that one still more than this one. But like I honestly don't know, and I definitely want to collect like different editions of this book now, because I like to do that with like classics. I don't do that with any other book, but with classics I really like collecting like the beautiful like editions that they always have. And I do that for The Picture of Dorian Gray. I have 3 editions of The Picture of Dorian Gray, and I really want like pretty editions of this book now. So yeah, I'm very glad that I read this. I'm very glad that I decided to read this randomly. I don't know why, but I just like looked at my bookshelf and I was like, I'm in the mood for Frankenstein. I don't know why, but yeah, I'm very glad that I did that. I really enjoyed it. I'm not going to talk about this book like much longer. I'm probably going to do that in like a wrap-up video, but I don't want to do it much longer now because like I said, I am very warm and I still need to go through like a couple books. So yeah, I really enjoyed this, highly recommend it, and yeah, look forward to me ranting about this book in like a wrap-up sometime soon. So yeah. Then next is a book that made me cry, and that is The Lantern of Lost Memories. I once again wasn't really expecting much from this book, considering it's like so short. I wasn't expecting to like cry at it, but I cried like multiple times. It was a very good book. I didn't read this at like the wrong moment, I feel like, because I was really enjoying it and I cried like a little bit, and then my dad started like becoming like really aggressive, like in the way that he normally doesn't. Like he got really aggressive and really like scary for a second. Like he genuinely scared me, and I feel like that never happens. Like he gets like angry a lot, like this type of aggressive he never really gets. And I was reading the end of his book and my dad got like really aggressive, and it scared me a lot, and so I was holding this book like kind of in front of my chest to like protect me. So yeah, I'm kind of like even more emotionally attached to this book because of that happening, because I kind of used it as a shield to protect me. But yeah, this book also doesn't have like good memories because of that, because I look at this book and I think to myself, oh, I really like that book, it made me cry, I definitely want to read like other books by this author. And then I think about my experience reading it and I'm like, yeah, let's not do that again, shall we? So yeah, it's kind of like mixed feelings with this book, but I did really like it. I gave it like 5 stars. So yeah, like my dad being an asshole is not going to ruin this book for me. So yeah. Then next is a book that made me happy, which doesn't really happen a lot, I feel like, with books. So I picked out a manga that did this, and that is Spacewalking with You. This is actually a manga I got from Neck Alley, and I really want to buy like a physical version of this if it even like exists, because it has like really good like autism and like ADHD representation, and that typically doesn't really happen in a lot of mangas. Like the representation is there sometimes, but I feel like it just misses the mark sometimes. And this book did not, or rather this manga did not. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading the rest of the series if it ever like comes out, because I don't think it has come out yet. But if it does, I'll be one of the first people to read it, and hopefully those volumes will be just as good as the first one and the series doesn't like go downhill in terms of like representation. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, really good representation. The art style was a bit crude at times, but I feel like I'm used to that considering the amount of like manga that I read. So yeah, let's just move on to the last question, I believe. So I'm finally released from this like prison that I'm in because of how warm it is right now. So yeah. Then lastly, what is like the most beautiful like book purchase I made this year? And I don't typically buy books because they're beautiful, but I do really like this version of The Picture of Dorian Gray that I bought at like a secondhand book market that was like happening in the city where I lived. And yeah, I really wanted this one because I saw it like almost immediately in like the pile of books that was there, and I saw it and I immediately obviously had to get it because, like I already said, I'm someone who only really likes collecting different versions of like classics. I don't really do that for any other book. But with classics, it tends to have like very different covers and like very beautiful ones. And yeah, I'm very glad that I got this secondhand, so it was very cheap as well. And I think it's very pretty, and I feel like because it was secondhand, I can justify like spending like money on it because it wasn't a lot of money and it's secondhand. So yeah, I can justify like buying it. So I'm very glad that I bought it. And now let's just end this video so I can finally be done with this. So yeah. So this year so far, I've actually had like a really good reading year. I'm already at like 90 books, which is like a lot for me because usually I struggle to get to like 100 books in a year. And it's like halfway through the year and I'm already at like 90. So my goal is 150. I feel like if I keep reading like this well, I'm definitely going to read it because I'm like 13 books ahead of schedule according to Storygraph or Goodreads. I know that like my reading typically slows down towards the end of the year, so I hope I can still reach like 150 books. So yeah, I'm glad I'm having like such a good reading year so far, because I feel like the majority of the books I read are also like pretty good, because in Storygraph, like the website and like the app, you can like, it will like give you a lot more like information that Goodreads does. And according to Storygraph, like most of my books this year have been like 3 or 4 stars, which for me is like pretty good. So yeah, like I really like that like I'm having such a good reading year. So yeah, let's just end this video now though before I keep talking about it. So yeah, I will also put like the person's like Instagram that I took like these like questions from, because I know they're typically like a bit generic, but I specifically took this from like their account. So yeah, just want to credit them at least like a little bit. So yeah, that's where I got these questions from. But yeah, let's just end this video now because like I said, I'm very warm. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed like this like mid-year check-in. So yeah, thank you guys for watching and bye.